So a few years back, viewers of this channel recommended that I perform the poor man's power steering upgrade on my Husqvarna garden tractor here. Now this tractor has fairly big wheels and it's fairly heavy in the front end, and it wasn't that easy to steer. Plus I was noticing that I had moderate wear on the steering gears, and I wasn't really looking forward to having to replace those. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and I installed needle bearings in the front spindles. Then later I installed wheel bearings in the front wheels, and I published the installation videos. And it was a fairly simple and inexpensive process. And to be honest, I was pretty surprised by how much improvement that those upgrades made. So I became interested in this idea, but I was seeing a lot of room for improvement in the kits that were available. So ultimately I decided to start assembling and selling my own kits a couple of years ago. And in that time frame, I've received a lot of feedback from customers and from viewers of this channel. And I've learned an awful lot since I published those original videos. So I thought I would do an update video, and I would answer some of the common questions that I get, and I would show the latest and greatest kits. And I'll also provide a few installation and maintenance tips as well. Now, if you're not familiar with this concept, there's a pivot point here in your steering between the axle housing tube and the steering spindle. And on a stock mower, depending on your particular make or model, you're either going to have a thrust washer down in here between these two parts, or in some cases nothing at all. But in either way, you're basically rubbing two flat surfaces together whenever you steer. So with the steering bearing upgrade kit, you get a nice smooth rolling needle bearing, and that's going to help to reduce the friction between these two parts. It also helps to prolong the life of your axle tube and your steering spindle. Now some people refer to that upgrade as the poor man's power steering upgrade, but this really only gives you the partial benefit. So upgrading your wheel bushings to wheel bearings has some benefits that a lot of people may not be aware of. The bushing has a fairly loose fit on the axle because it has to rotate along the axle, which means it has a bit of side-to-side motion, as you can see there, and that results in play in the steering, which just gets worse over time. Whereas a wheel bearing, it fits nice and snugly on the axle with almost no side-to-side motion at all, and that gives you a much more responsive feel in the steering. It feels a bit like going from an old wore-out pickup truck to a brand new sports car. Also, bushings rub against the axle as the wheel spins, and that creates a lot of friction, but it also wears down your axle and your bushing at the same time. Whereas with a ball bearing, the rotation action occurs internal to the bearing itself between this inner race and the outer race. And bearings, they spin with a lot less friction. And the reduced rolling resistance reduces the amount of torque required to turn the wheels while they're rotating. And since the bearing isn't grinding against the axle is going to last a lot longer too. So both the steering bearing upgrade and the wheel bearing upgrade will help to improve the way the mower steers, but if you combine the two together, you're going to feel a much more significant difference in the steering. And performing the upgrade will help you to prolong the life of your axle shafts, the steering spindles, and some of the other steering components as well. And you might find that doing the upgrade helps you to save enough time and money that the kits pay for themselves. So I've received comments from people who were not happy with the steering upgrades that they purchased on Amazon. So I recently purchased this needle bearing set that Amazon had labeled as top rated, so I could compare it to the needle bearing set that I sell. And the first thing I noticed when I took these out of the package is that these bearings feel noticeably lighter in the hand. Now I confirmed that with the scale. These are indeed lighter. Now as far as I could tell, the dimensions are the same, so it kind of makes me wonder what kind of metal they're using to make these. The other thing I noticed is that there are a lot of sharp angles and edges on this bearing that are indicative of a poor quality stamping. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but it's particularly noticeable where the roller meets the cage. There's just a very sharp angle there on every roller, and if you rub your thumb on it, you can feel a lot of sharp edges and some places that even feel like you might cut your hand. Whereas on this bearing, it's just obviously made with a higher degree of precision. First of all, it's heavier, and there are no sharp edges. Everything is super smooth, especially around the rollers there, and it rolls really smoothly as well. Again, I don't know how well it shows up on camera. It's obvious to the naked eye that these races here have just been roughly ground. I can still see tool marks in them and scratches in that. And these over here have been polished to a mirror finish. I mean, it's obvious, even when you pick it up, you can feel that these are just super smooth and shiny. These races are also bidirectional, which means I can place either side of the race onto the bearing. Now, another thing I thought was rather amusing, before I started the video, I wiped off the protective oil from both of the bearings, but this one left some kind of nasty stuff on the towel, as you can see here. It made me wonder if they were using used motor oil or something like that to lubricate and protect these. And by the way, the price difference between these two bearings is rather small. So the vast majority of these mower wheel bearing kits that you'll find online actually come from a small number of Chinese third-party exporters who source the components in China and assemble kits into little white boxes like this. Sellers who are often in China as well, they purchase the kits at wholesale and put Western-sounding brand names on them for resale. Now, before I decided to start selling kits, I bought some kits from a couple of these exporters to test out, and here are some examples of what I received. A lot of the wheel bearings, they just simply don't fit onto a 3/4 inch axle. And I got a lot of weird problems with washers as well. Like this one on the left side is very clearly thicker than it's supposed to be. And these are supposedly thrust washers, which means that they should be really flat, but a lot of them came out more taco shaped than they are flat. And I got washers with weird marks, like this one has some kind of grinding marks on it or something, and this one as well. And some of the washers came quite oxidized. I even got some other hardware that had rust spots. But this one here, this is my personal favorite. And I would also say that the instructions that came with these kits were worse than the hardware. Now, not all the hardware was bad, but I suspect that most sellers drop ship these kits to fulfillment centers like Amazon or others without quality inspection, because there are a lot of one-star reviews that mention issues like I experienced. So after experiencing what was typically available out on the market, I started thinking I could assemble better kits myself by placing a higher focus on quality. And it took me a lot longer than I expected to test out different parts and find good quality components and reliable suppliers. My intention was to provide OEM quality or better, and I tried sourcing as many components from U.S. suppliers as possible. I'm getting some components from U.S. suppliers and some components directly from Chinese manufacturers, but I spent a lot of time and effort to source high-quality components either way. And the suppliers that I use, they're not going to ship me things like this, but nonetheless, I inspect all the components and I check the bearings for fitment before anything gets shipped out. The kits have evolved a bit over time and will continue to do so, but this is the current version of my steering bearing upgrade kit, and no one else is currently selling full kits like this. These dust caps, they were custom made to match the thickness of the original OEM caps. I also had these washers custom made as well to be slightly thinner to improve clearance at the top of the steering spindle. This reduces the chance that you'll need to file down the axle housing tube, but they've also been heat treated to improve strength. And these bearings, they're from a highly rated manufacturer with excellent quality control. And then these are top quality poodle style retention clips. I learned that poodle style clips hold into the groove better than standard E-clips will. And the instructions are a real rarity because they've been clearly written with proper grammar and spelling. And this is the current version of my wheel bearing upgrade kit with either black or yellow dust caps. Again, you have thicker caps than what you normally find in the aftermarket. And these bearings are made by a large OEM supplier, and they've been really consistent with their quality. All the washers are thrust washers from US-based suppliers, so they're made to US quality standards. And I really didn't want anyone's wheel to fall off, so these outer washers are really robust. And then these are heavy-duty retention clips that are a lot stronger than the original clips. And I know some of you will be disappointed in this, but there are no Chinese characters in the instructions, but I did include some pictures. So the installation of these kits is pretty easy, but there are a few things that could slow you down. And starting with the steering bearing kit, one of the problems that some people have mentioned is that their spindles are difficult to separate and they become stuck. So if that happens, you can just spray a bit of a penetrating oil down into the top of the spindle there and let it soak in for a bit. And then take a wooden dowel. This happens to be a 5/8 inch dowel. And I say wood because it's a softer material. It's not going to damage your spindle or mushroom it out. And just take a standard hammer and give it some taps, and just continue to do that until your spindle separates. Also, some mowers like this Husqvarna garden tractor use these nylon bushings on the steering spindles. Now this one fits on the top here. Of course, it seats down further so that it's flush with the top of the axle housing tubing. But there's a second one that goes on the underside. Now I mention this because these can be easily overlooked, and if they become partially unseated while you're disassembling the steering spindle, if you don't notice it, then when you put everything back together, they can cause some binding, or you may not have enough clearance on the top here to get your retention clip back into place. So just be mindful of this and make sure they're both well seated. And it's also not a bad idea, while you have everything taken apart, just to inspect these and make sure they're in good condition. So these steering bearings, they're not sealed, and so they do need to stay well lubricated in order to maintain a smooth rotation. Now in my original installation video, I tried using this AMSOIL heavy-duty metal protector on the bearings, and this is a great product, but it didn't work so well in this application. And the bearings down here got all gummed up after some time, and I had to spray some brake parts cleaner down in here to clean them out. And I've since learned that you don't need to resort to exotic lubricants or to try to seal your bearings or to modify them in any way in order to improve grease penetration. Ironically, all you really need to do is follow your mower's user's manual. I just grease the spindle every 25 hours, but it works better if you raise the front of the mower first to get the wheels off the ground. That way there'll be a bigger gap down in here to allow for fresh grease into the bearings and to push out any old grease, dirt, or debris. I've received comments with regards to people drilling holes in their top race in order to improve grease penetration, but the races are precision machined, and I think you're most likely to ruin the race if you drill holes, and it's completely unnecessary. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of ripples there, which is showing me that the grease is penetrating into the bearing itself and not just rolling off the top of the top race. Okay, so this John Deere tractor is currently in its stock configuration with the spindle dust cap removed. So when you go to install steering bearings, they're going to be installed down here at the bottom of the spindle, and the needle bearing stack is about 4 millimeters in height, which means with the mower on the ground and this washer pushed down, you're going to need about 4 millimeters of space between the washer and the retention clip in order to get the clip back on after the needle bearings have been installed down in here. Now most mowers will have that much clearance, but also the washer that's included with the kits is just a little bit thinner than the stock washer, and that's to give you a little bit more clearance in order to make it easier to get that clip back into place after the needle bearings have been installed. But if your mower still needs additional clearance, once you disassemble the spindle here, you can file down the top of the axle housing tube. It's a softer metal and you shouldn't need to take off much material, so it's a pretty quick and easy job with just a standard bastard file, and it won't harm the mower in any way. And then afterwards, it's a good idea to spray the bare metal with some spray paint meant for outdoor use, just so it doesn't rust. So after you've installed your needle bearings, the retention clip should go back on rather easily. If it doesn't, or if you see any binding up here, then that means you probably haven't taken off quite enough material from the axle housing tube. Now after you've done the install, you want to turn the wheels a few times and make sure that the spindle is turning freely and that nothing is binding up here. Otherwise, you might end up with steering which is worse than what you started out with. So here's a tip for when you go to remove your original bushings. Now there's a second bushing on the opposite side of the wheel, and to get it out, you're going to tap from the top side. Now what you want to do is you want to use a tool like this and a hammer, and you're going to tap all the way around the perimeter of that other bushing, If you're just hammering on one spot, what that's going to do is it's going to increase the chances that the other bushing will twist inside the wheel, and that will have a tendency to expand the other wheel hub. Now, if you find that you have expanded the wheel hub and your bearing fits loosely, there is an easy fix. With the bearing removed, all you need to do is tap around the outside diameter of the hub that's been enlarged. Now, if you have a rubber mallet, that works better to protect the paint and to prevent dents, or a rubber dead blow hammer. But if you don't have one of those, just a standard hammer will work. The idea is just to give light taps all the way around the perimeter, and frequently check for fitment until you get a nice snug fit. So hopefully this video was useful. If you've been thinking about upgrading your mower or just have some questions on the installation process, the upgrades definitely did help me, and I've received a lot of positive feedback on the bearings and the upgrade kits as well. Oh, and for you John Deere owners, I've recently started selling John Deere specific kits, and in my next video I'll be upgrading this brand new S100. I've also recently launched a new website with new branding where you can actually shop tax-free as long as you're in the United States. So feel free to leave any questions or comments, and we'll see you next time.